Hello. Today I'm going to talk to you about ethical and legal issues within sport and exercise science and use some scenarios to explain them. So, what are ethical and legal issues? Ethical issues, according to businessdictionary.com, is a problem or situation that requires a person or organisation to choose between alternatives that must be evaluated as right, so ethical, or wrong, as unethical. So something being ethically correct basically means it is morally the correct thing to do. A legal issue is simply just an issue that is either illegal or legal, and if found to be illegal, it means that the person is breaking the law, and the situation will often be sorted in court, and the person accused could be sent to jail. So, the Zimbardo and Milgram studies were studies in history that changed ethical and legal studies. The Stanford Prison Experiment was conducted in 1971 and was an experiment that attempted to investigate the psychological effects of perceived power, focusing on the struggle between prisoners and prison officers. The aim of the study was to investigate how readily people would conform to the roles of guard and prisoner in a role-playing exercise that simulated prison life. Another study was conducted by a theorist named Stanley Milgram. He conducted an experiment focusing on the conflict between obedience to authority and personal conscience. In the past, during World War II, a number of German physicians conducted painful and often deadly experiments on thousands of concentration camp prisoners without their consent. An example of some of the unethical research that was conducted by Nazi researchers was when the German Experimental Institution for Aviation conducted high-altitude experiments, using a low-pressure chamber to determine the maximum altitude from which crews of damaged aircraft could parachute to safety. Scientists there carried out so-called freezing experiments, using prisoners to find an effective treatment for hypothermia. This was obviously extremely unethical, as it would have cause both physical and mental harm to the prisoners, and this is the very reason the Nuremberg Code was released. It was an attempt to stop scientists conducting unethical and illegal research on people such as this. BASES, standing for the British Association of Sport and Exercise Science, is the professional body for sport and exercise science in the UK. BASES' mission is to drive excellence in sport and exercise science through the promotion of evidence-based practice and the development and enhancement of professional and ethical standards. The Nuremberg Code is a set of research ethics principles for human experimentation set because of the subsequent Nuremberg trials at the end of the Second World War. The 10 ethics that you can see on the screen at the minute are things such as the right to withdraw, which means that researchers are not allowed to force a participant to continue the research against their own will, and if they wish to stop, they can do so at any time. There is also a code in place to protect participants taking part in the research. This disables researchers to carry out a study if it is thought to have any physical or mental harm or abuse will come to the participant as a result of the research. So the first scenario that you can see on your screen, the good practice that this particular researcher has used is where he has asked the parents if he can have their permission to post pictures of them on the website. This sort of thing will stop the parents being able to take any legal action against the researcher because the children that he is conducting the research on are under 18, meaning they're not allowed to give their own legal consent, which is why he has had to ask the parents. If he hadn't asked the parents and went ahead and posted the pictures anyway, he could have been facing legal action and ethical action, and this could have caused the tribunal, or even he could have lost his job. However, he has lied to the gymnasts by omission and told them that they'll be doing box jumps, but purposely missed out key information by saying by not telling them that they'll be jumping off 5 meter high boxes. Now, if he had done a debrief to explain why he lied to them, it would have been okay, but obviously he did not do this, so there could be ethical action from the parents, as again, like I say, they're under 16, or again, there could be legal action like him losing his job. He has also forced a couple of the participants to take part in the research, which he is not allowed to do, as one of the Nuremberg codes are the right to withdraw, where a participant is allowed to stop taking part in the research at any time that they wish. In this second scenario, the good practice that the research used this time was that he got permission from an ethics committee to conduct the research, meaning that he had permission from the ethics committee who had looked through the research that he wanted to conduct, who were able to say that it was allowed and that he was able to do it. He also, if he had not done this, then in the future there could have been risk for him not being able to carry out more research, and people would not have trusted him, as well as the parents of the people being participants taking part, taking out legal action. Another good thing that he did was he carried out a risk analysis, which should have meant that he could have cut out any health and safety risks that could have therefore caused any harm to the participants. However, as you can see from the scenario, he used the better gymnasts and got the other ones to distract them, which is showing bias towards the better athletes and inequality. He is also causing psychological harm towards the athletes that are being shouted at due to the fact that he chose the better athletes. So causing psychological harm, again, is one of the things in the Nuremberg Code that it says you are not allowed to do. So this test should not have even been allowed from the ethics committee. As it also says, the researcher left a document on the table containing the results of the different athletes. So if anyone from this research had read it who shouldn't have supposed to been, the researcher could have been in serious trouble, again having a tribunal and possibly losing their job. The final scenario shows that, again, the researcher had lied to the participants by commission, which again, it would have been okay had there been a debrief, but there wasn't. And all he needed to do in the debrief was explain, for the purpose of the research, that one half of the group did get given the glucose supplement and the other half weren't given the glucose supplement. But as this did not happen, he has lied to them, and again, there could be legal action taken against the researcher. There's also a lack of health and safety, as a young athlete has broken their leg due to the fact that there's a lack of health and safety and supervision. So this person's parents are liable to take legal action against the researcher, and they could lose their job and again have legal or ethical action taken against them.